presentation is on MMR vaccines and if they lead to lissencephaly. Many of the symptoms between lissencephaly is usually autism as well, so that's the reason they're used interchangeably. Go ahead. Oh, I was going to get.
Oh, okay, all right. Sorry, go ahead.
Hold on.
All right.
Before we can get into lissencephaly, we just want to talk about MMRs, vaccines, and what goes in them. First, a vaccine is basically a dead version of the virus, so we can put it inside our bodies and catalog it, and whenever another pathogen exactly like it comes around, we already have a defense mechanism ready set up for it. And MMR stands for measles, mumps, and rubella, and it's only prevalent in third world countries because they don't have enough money to afford the medication and treat it as quickly as possible, or as effectively as possible. I have the definition for mumps, measles, and rubella here, but we're just going to skip through it. This is just the domains in which we're going to be talking about. As we go through each of these, what you're not going to see is mercury, which is going to be important as we go through each of them. All you have is stalk residues, strand membrane, and terminus, and linked, a bunch of science gibberish. Let's see. Polymerase, nuclear proteins, phosphoproteins, hemoglobin, stuff like that. And lastly, the rubella virus with a bunch of glycoproteins, RNA, lipid bilayer, and icosahedral nucleo capsid. There we go. So then we finally get into somewhat of the most important part of the presentation. What is lissencephaly? Lissencephaly is basically a brain without gyri and sulci, so basically it's really smooth. I picture here. One of these is a brain with lissencephaly, and the other one is a piece of gum that somebody has chewed, and you can't really tell the difference between the two.
So they almost randomly put sheep like that?
Yeah, they're not very good. All right. So with all that aside, we can get back to what we actually want to talk about. Can the MMR vaccine actually cause autism and lissencephaly? What a lot of people have been focusing on is that there is a lot of links between lissencephaly and mercury, and also that there's a correlation between the amount of MMR vaccines that's been happening and a correlation between the amount of cases of autism and lissencephaly that's been popping up recently. Okay. So this is the theories we just stated. Vaccinations have mercury. The disease are already dead, and there's no reason for vaccinations, or otherwise known as herd immunity. And there's no correlation between. There is a correlation between MMR vaccines and autism. So we're going to skip ahead. We're going to go to the third part. This is just showing Oreo sales versus the crime rate in Canada. Just because there is a correlation between the two doesn't mean correlation does not dictate causation, unless people are committing crimes to get more Oreos. And there are the two other theories. Herd immunity. Even though a virus is no longer present technically present in a civilization, viruses do have other ways of thriving, and they normally do this by going to other organisms and waiting till we are unvaccinated or unprotected to come back and reform or just get better to attack us again, which is why herd immunity and the idea of it is false. And the other one with mercury is why I briefly went over each of the domains and what is in each of mumps, measles, and rubella, is because it contains no mercury. But the one thing I will give them is that mercury does have a lot of detrimental effects when it comes to the brain, how it works, and it does range from autism to lissencephaly and a whole bunch of other neurological diseases, as well as senior moments and Alzheimer's. Okay. In conclusion, do vaccines cause autism and lissencephaly? I don't really see the answer here, but it's somewhere around this area. But as scientists, we always have to invite the fact that it might, because there is somewhat of a correlation. So we want to make sure that there isn't a shadow of a doubt when it comes to us looking into this. because we have had a lot of cases with genetically modified organisms and with our food, soy, a whole bunch of other things, and we want to make sure that someone isn't tinkering with the formula to make it work a bit better, but in actuality, it's hurting those students and our kids. Let's see. Oh, that's the end.
All right.
Questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.